I started as president of the Swedish Institute for Quality in the end of 2016, and before that I was senior vice president for quality, environmental care and safety for the Volvo Group. And I have roughly sort of 20 years of experience working with quality in industry, but also with academia. And I have a professorship in total quality management at Mälardalen University, close to Stockholm. Well, SIQ was founded by the Swedish government back in the early 1990s, and the purpose of SIQ is really to help to develop the competitiveness and efficiency of Swedish organizations becoming better over time. Well, the purpose of SIQ, as I said, is really to help to develop organizations. And I would say that the competence of SIQ as such is, I would say, the collective competence of the people working at the Swedish Institute for Quality. So I would say everyone working here at SIQ have a background and knows quite a lot about total quality management, improvement, and also innovation and development. Well, as I mentioned, the purpose of SIQ is really to help to improve organizations as such. And we work with all type of organizations, large, small, private and public. And I would also say we work with education and schools, and we also work with healthcare. Yeah, there are many recent challenges that we see, but one of the most important that I see is really that things are going faster and faster, and hence it's really important for organizations both to have a stable and repetitive output and processes, but at the same time be able to react to all of the changes that are happening so fast. So it's a little bit of a contradiction in terms of one hand being very stable and have a repetitive output, and on the other hand having the capabilities to follow all of the changes that are happening so quickly. And that is also why we focus a lot of the research that we are performing on this topic. I would say going back the last year at SIQ, since I started here, we had a bit of a restart. We had the privilege of having the possibility of employing a couple of new employees coming from different areas. And we have really also focused a lot on memberships. So we have managed to increase the number of organizations being members of SIQ. We have several successes, but one that I can point out is that we have managed to develop a number of new networks. We have experienced that sometimes organizations that are member of SIQ want to share and learn from organizations that are very different from them, but quite often we also see that they want to learn from organizations that are rather similar in type of nature. So we have established an industrial network and also a new network with municipalities, and I would say that's an area that we are very proud of. Yes, we just launched a new version of the model, which we named the SIQ Management Model. And there are several changes and improvements in that model. But first of all, I would say that it focuses much more on sustainability. It focuses much more on innovation and rapid improvement. And it has also a focus on digitalization, and I would say a rather new focus on also looking on, if you could call it, employeeship. I would say our previous model looked a lot on what management need to do to support employees in the work. We still focus that, but now it focuses even more on what do I as an employee need to do in order to step forward and actually take an active role in the development of the organization. I would also say that the new model has a big focus and is also adapted to a little bit of the Swedish culture and the way of doing things. And in the end, I would mention simplicity. We have tried to make the model as simple and generic as possible. Yeah, I will say that on a very high level, I will say that both the SIQ management model and also the EFQM model, they are what we could call business excellence model. And there are on rather similar parts when you look upon those models. I will say that they usually focus on management, they focus on employees, they focus on processes, they focus on how you do things and the results you get. In that way, you can even say that ISO 9000 is sort of an excellence model. But what I would say is that the Swedish management, the SIQ management model is more focused on Swedish culture and prerequisites. And what we see is that in Sweden, it's primarily the larger organizations that have an international footprint and a clear contact that are most interested in the EFQM model. So in that way, I would say it gives quite a good combination and a way to connect the SIQ management model with the EFQM model. Yeah, the cooperation between the Swedish Institute for Quality and EFQM started many years back, long before when I came into this position. And I would say that as the world is becoming more and more globalized, it's quite clear that the purpose of SIQ is to help Swedish organizations to grow and develop. And quite often, the development of those organizations goes beyond the borders of Sweden. And that's really where the important cooperation comes with EFQM, where we can connect and we can have it as a supporting platform for actually helping Swedish organizations becoming more competitive even on a global level. Yeah, I had the privilege of visiting the EFQM headquarters in Brussels just 2-3 weeks back. And then I had the chance to see a little bit more in detail what the ambitions and future strategic plan is for EFQM. And I must say that I'm very positive to what I saw and what was presented to myself. It seems like EFQM had taken steps forward and also are trying to take steps what you can call beyond the classical borderlines of total quality management. So I find that very promising, I must say. And then as a hint or a tip looking into the future, I would say it goes not only to EFQM but actually to all organizations working as national quality institutions. And I would say that that's really try to look more towards innovation. Things are going faster and faster, and we working with quality management are sometimes connected with the people who are working with continuous improvement and internal processes and efficiency. But with the development, it's so important to still do that, but also have the ability to take larger steps and to take larger improvements. And then we really come into the borderline of innovation. And I would say if we were talking Japanese, I think most of us knows the word kaizen. But I think what we need to do, and to know much more, is to also work with what's called in Japanese kaikaku, which means taking larger steps and larger improvements. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to share some of the thoughts and ideas of what we're working with here at the Swedish Institute for Quality. We very much look forward to future cooperation with yourself in the different national roles that you have in helping in improving research and development in the area of total quality management going forward.